Welcome to the Total Soccer Show and our latest batch of listener questions. On this episode, we're taking charge of Chelsea. Oh boy. We're putting Premier League teams in Major League Soccer and so much more. My name's Ryan Bailey. We got a power trio on the feed today. Graham Ruthven is part of that trio. Hello, Graham. How are you?
I'm good, Ryan Bailey. How are you? Is there any mulch in your Saturday afternoon plans this weekend? We're going back there.
Free at last, Graham. I'm free of mulching.
Good.
My mulching days are over for another season. I'm glad to say. It's a good workout, though. A lot of squatting and picking up heavy bags and stuff. It's good.
There's a mulch
You mean for the
season.
servants who were doing it?
Yeah, for the servants. Yeah.
I mean, for them, yeah, for their benefit. Yeah. I had to do a lot of pointing.
Sure.
Put mulch
Tires you
there.
out.
Yeah. The worst part, as in most jobs in the house, like if you're painting a room, Graham, it's the prep. It's the weeding. It's the getting ready for the dumping the mulch on those areas.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I just messaged my brother. Go, please.
We've been messaging him too.
Yeah.
We've
That's
got a
wise.
conversation.
He's got more.
We booked him for Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have indeed. We're back to a foursome. Not with you. Sorry.
That's the real reason he's going to be in LA, isn't it? This is where the transition happens, the handover.
Speaking of transition, we're going to LA this summer. We'll get to there very shortly because we have to say Joe Lowry. Hello. How are you?
I'm great. All right, I totally agree with you about prep. I was thinking about it even for writing. Like, I don't mind the process of writing, but the research bit, I even like the research bit. But while I'm doing the research, knowing that I still have to do all of the writing afterwards, it's like the tasks are connected, and I have to take my medicine first before I can do the thing. Even if I don't think the medicine tastes all that bad, it's the fact that I have to wait to do the final product to actually prepare myself so that it doesn't suck. I don't know. Something about that in my mind, it's just a hindrance, really.
Yeah, the prep of typing in chatgpt.com is quite laborious. Just if any of my editors are listening, that's a joke. I don't actually do that.
Wink.
I swear.
Wink.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just delete the hyphens.
Very good. As they say, fail to prepare and prepare to fail. No, other way around. Liam Rosini said it. The wrong way around on LinkedIn. Yeah, very good. Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
West Coast Joe, are you looking forward to the summer of TSS in Los Angeles?
I'm so excited, man. I actually am so excited. It feels real now in a way that it hasn't maybe quite felt real before. I've started doing my prep for our World Cup preview shows, though there's a lot more prep to still be done. I started on it actually a while ago and thought, I'm getting so ahead of the game. And then I've just forgotten about it for the last month, maybe. And now I'm starting to feel a little bit of anxiety about that. But I love doing those shows. I love when we have a chance to all be together and watch these games. I think it makes the shows better. We have some fun. We have the live show planned, which we talked about before, June 11th, El Rey Theater on Wilshire. Be there. It'll be great fun. You should buy tickets, tssworldcup.com. Nice. Even beyond that, we have really fun daily shows planned. And I think we're going to do some cool stuff that's like even more cool and different than what we did back in 2022. World Cups, I think, are where TSS does our best work, truly. Like, I really do believe that. And I think we're going to do better stuff this year than we have before.
We are indeed. And you're a fan of reality TV, Joe. You're in the Big Brother format. We're going with Big Brother, aren't we, in the TSS house?
I've still never seen Big Brother. I know of it, but I don't really understand the mechanics of how it works. Can we vote someone out? Is that how it works? Because if so, then I think that'd be quite interesting.
Ryan, was Big Brother not a thing in the US?
No, we have it,
Oh,
but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it was less of a thing culturally, I'd say, Graham. But
right.
But yes, you do vote people out, except for Graham's brother. He gets to stay in the whole time.
Right.
Yeah. Only because of his carpentry skills.
Yeah, he's too useful.
We need him to build the set. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. As Joe said, tssworldcup.com if you want to come and see our live show at the El Rey Theater. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have all the soccer chat. We're going to have special guests. In fact, we just got confirmation of our first special guest. King Charles is actually going to open up for us. He's been doing some mad bants on his trip to the US over the past week, and he's going to be he's got a type 5 for us at the start of the show as well. So we're very pleased to have the King as well. Are
the corgis coming? Did he get the corgis, King Charles?
Well, where else would they go? They're not in like a mausoleum, are they? Are they?
No, they've got. I thought they might have got like a palace, like Balmoral Palace, as now belongs to the corgis.
Oh, there was a palace going free for recently, wasn't there? So
yeah.
Maybe they got that one.
That's right.
Maybe
that's where our tax money's going. Palace for the corgis.
Wonderful.
If the corgis are coming, then I will welcome King Charles as one of our guests. If not, he can do one.
All right.
Off you pop.
There you go. You're the only one who's got a useful brother around here, Graham. Let's say that, shall we? Park it there. TSSWorldCup.com and also patreon.com/Total Soccer Show for all our bonus content, bonus episodes, bonus video, access to our Discord, and bonus listener questions, including one which is hitting the feed this weekend about the best team badges that incorporate a soccer ball in them. We're right in the Rutland territory with that one. He's showing you his... he's got some on the wall behind him. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that. Very good. Let's get to our listener questions, shall we? This one is from Donnie Draws a Lot. That's a great name, by the way. Donnie Draws a Lot. Need to see some evidence of that, but here we go. In a world where Chelsea is in managerial chaos, so this world, and every available big-name manager has turned them down, Clear Lake Capital has turned to AI. Yeah, and also this one. Clear Lake Capital has turned to AI to find the best soccer knowledge in the world. Their AI agents have determined that Total Soccer Show has the world's greatest knowledge of soccer. That's the downfall of AI right there. Yeah. I'm not sure which one they're using. They've offered the four of you jobs to run Chelsea Football Club. One of you's manager, one of you is director of football operations, one of you is head of scouting, and the other is in charge of player development. You're all signed on an 8-year deal with the first 3 years guaranteed. Wonderful. You've got complete control for those first 3 years and a massive, massive financial windfall if you can go the 8 years. So, what would be your plan to fix the club? And could you go to distance for those 8 years? Joe, I'll say for the 8 years, are you even supposed to go the 8 years? Is that even how the model works? Probably not,
you just stick around for 5 and then you get axed after that stretch. No, we would not make it the 8 years. I'll just say that right away. AI will quickly be proven wrong. I suppose as it was when Pellegrino Matarazzo was hired, despite AI recommending against him being hired. That's a ridiculous thing to admit to the media. Unbelievable. I still am not over that whole story in Spain. That is just absolutely wild to me. We would not make it the 8 years. We wouldn't even make it the 3 years, even with guaranteed money. We get the guaranteed money in the 3 years, and they'd still fire us. So, I don't think I would recommend this happening. I don't think I would recommend anybody doing this for us. This is not an easy situation to fix. I think that's the reality for Chelsea right now. How would we plan to fix the club? It seems like there are some short-term issues and some long-term issues that need to be addressed. And I honestly don't know how many of the short-term issues really can be addressed because of some of the financial problems. And maybe Chelsea find a way to weasel out of them, and maybe our first move is to hire the world's smartest finance expert consultant person. But it seems like there are legitimate financial issues that we have to solve if we want to do things. So I suppose that's where we have to start first, which is maybe getting rid of some elite talents, whether that are truly the elite talents that we can make a profit on, because that's what needs to happen for Chelsea to absolve some of these financial problems. They can't just sell somebody they paid a lot of money for. They actually have to sell somebody for a profit. Or we're playing academy kids in the short term and selling them. Chelsea have been in that situation before for transfer ban reasons. Maybe that's what needs to happen to help absolve some of the financial pressures. But we talked about that when Rosenior was fired. This is a Chelsea team whose model basically is totally reliant on them qualifying for the Champions League and the revenue that comes from that. And when that's not actually happening, they're in a financial pinch that they have to figure a way out of. And I suppose that's where we have to start as we're taking over this club.
Okay. And how would you continue?
If we can resolve some of the financial issues, I would say we should probably stop having 5 sporting directors. That might be worth a try. Let's streamline it down. I know we're 6. What if we just did 4, since there's 4 of us at the table? Really, I just nominate Graham to be sporting director. I mean, it seems like there's some real leadership redundancies that are happening inside of Chelsea right now. And it also seems like the initial plan for the club, which is we're going to go and we're going to have a nice, tidy profit on all this when Clear Lake comes in. We're an enterprise that wants to just see our assets go up. Well, when that didn't happen, it seemed like there was a bit of panic and a realization of we need to get ourselves at the wheel, and Todd Bowley shows up, and now all of a sudden there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. I'm not sure that's been the most helpful thing. So I would probably streamline the front office setup a little bit. I would also, with the front office in mind, recruit around as many of the elite talents as you can afford to keep. Right? And on my list, that's Endo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, Cole Palmer, Estevao, and Reece James. That's my list of players that I think are legitimately top quality who could be starting on a Champions League winning team. That's my list. Maybe there's a couple of other guys that are close or are in that category. I suppose we could disagree on that. But really, I want to keep as many of those pieces as possible and recruit around them. In that group, you're probably too light at center back. You're probably a little bit too light in midfield even still, because I don't know if Enzo can be trusted to play on the double pivot next to Caicedo. We don't really see that happen very often. Maybe Reece James is that player, so maybe you don't need it. But I think you need a little bit more on the attack. And I think you absolutely need more at center back. And that's where, in the short term, if this team actually could recruit, not have to deal with financial restrictions that limit their spending, those would be the no-brainer areas for me to look at. So if we can figure out a way to generate revenue and actually be able to spend by moving a couple of pieces on, I would add around as many of those players as I can afford to keep. I think in the short term, that is a very reasonable approach for Chelsea.
Yeah, it's so difficult because they've got so many players who are tied to super long contracts, and that makes it very difficult to clear the deck. So Cole Palmer, João Pedro, Caicedo, Mamadou Sarr, Estevao are all on contracts until 2033. I'd want to keep 3, maybe even 4 of those players, so I guess that's not bad. But Jamie Gittins is under contract until 2032, Garnacho 2032, Pedro Neto 2031. Mikhailo Mudryk is still under contract until 2031, banned for doping, hasn't played for a year. Liam Delap 2031, Robert Sanchez 2030. So I don't know how you move a lot of those players on without compromising your PSR position. And just looking at the fees that they paid for a lot of, pretty much all of their players, like it's easier to pick the players that you could make a profit on than not, because there's like 2. Malo Gusto, they signed him for 30 million euros. You could maybe move him on for a profit. And then other than that, like, it's Wesley Fofana, 80 million euros, you're not making a profit on him. Cucurella, 65 million euros, not making a profit on him. Enzo Fernandez, 115 million. Caicedo, 116 million. Romeo Lavia, who I rate quite highly, they could move him on. Are they going to get more than 62 million euros for him? Like, it's tough with Chelsea looking at how they can clear the decks of this squad. And that's a difficult starting point where they already have the financial pressures that Joe talked about. I think one of the biggest issues Chelsea have in a lot of positions is they don't really have a hierarchy in a lot of key positions. They have a big blob of players in central defence, and they have a big blob of players in the attack. And they just keep adding players on top of players who have the same age profile and are at the same stage of their development. Gittins and Garnacho, I think, are a good example of this, where there's was there really any need to sign both of them in the same window? Chalobah and Tosin in central defence as well. So I think to address some of this, I would try and find some experienced figures in their peak years. I think they need 2 or 3 win-now players. And this is all dependent on whether they can actually find the funds, which, as Joe says, is going to be tricky. But Mickey van de Ven, as Spurs go down, it seems like is going to be available for less than market value. I'd be sticking my oar in for him. I'd be going for Mike Mignon, who Chelsea came close to signing last summer. Apparently balked at AC Milan wanting 30 million euros for him, and they were only willing to pay 25 million euros for one of the best goalkeepers in Europe. But they'll willingly pay 80 million for Wesley Fofana. That's a little bit confusing. So I think once you get those pillar players, if I can call them that, and you add them into the 5, I had the exact same 5 that Joe had of Palmer, Caicedo, James, Fernandez, and actually I'm missing the 5th one here. Who was the 5th one that I'm missing? Anyway, I think you can kind of develop young players around them without expecting them to deliver every single week, which is the scenario Chelsea are in right now.
Yeah, it's just a difficult setup because there are. I mean, this is what's being talked around Chelsea right now, which is that they have legitimate financial restrictions in terms of actually being, fitting under regulations to be able to go out and add a bunch of talent. But they also need to add talent, and that's the difficulty. That's the bind that Chelsea find themselves in. I completely agree with you, Graham. Like, there's a lot of same in this Chelsea roster, and there's a lot of good players, but I don't think there's a lot of Champions League, Premier League winning players in this group outside of a lot of the ones that we mentioned already. And so can there be a little bit less same, and can you actually find center back? To me, still seems like the biggest area of need. Can you find that piece who is going to spiritually succeed Thiago Silva in this position that I don't think we've really seen so far? So I don't envy Chelsea fans right now. I mean, there's a lot of other Premier League clubs in bad spots, and that's not unique to Chelsea. But the solution, it doesn't scream to me that there's a quick fix to this, which I suppose is why we're going to take all 8 years and we're going to use them really well.
They also need to give more power to the manager. I think that's linked to Joe's point about the number of sporting directors that they have. It is important that you can attract, when you're Chelsea, it's important that you can attract the best managers. And the Chelsea job right now is just not attractive to good managers because they feel powerless. And we've seen it. We've seen it in action with the last number of managers that they've had. That's why Tommy Tuchel leaves. That's why Maresca leaves. That's why Pochettino leaves. It's been a factor in all of the last 4 or 5 managers failing at Chelsea. And obviously there's a balance to these things because you don't want managers, unilaterally dictating transfer strategy. But they need to have them in the room and have them collaborating. Most good teams allow that, and I just do not get the sense that Chelsea do. So that would be a structural change I think they have to make.
Okay. I think you two have got some good ideas, but I think you've missed the obvious solution forward for Chelsea here, structurally and sort of to define their future. Have you guys heard of Allbirds, the shoe company?
Yeah, well, previously the shoe company.
Indeed. So I've got several pairs of Allbirds. I like them a lot. They announced recently they are pivoting to become an AI infrastructure company. So they're basically not going to do shoes anymore. It's like a rapid turn. I propose that Chelsea stop playing football. I think they should just effectively, but like literally, like I think we don't need a manager in this scenario. I propose they become an AI-powered trading platform. Because that's kind of what they want to do with their players, right? Get them in, develop them, and sell them on. So how do they get those players out there in the shop window? They become like a Savannah Bananas, Harlem Globetrotters style exhibition team that tours around the world. This has lots of benefits. Obviously, the players are out in the shop window doing crazy things. They can be sold into teams. They can sell Stamford Bridge. They could make millions and millions of Southwest London real estate from building some nice fancy apartments for hedge fund investors on that land. And basically, yeah, it's the ultimate streamlining play. They don't need a manager, probably don't need a director of football operations. They just need AI-powered trading. The players come in, they go out, everyone's happy, right? I think I've solved it.
So Chelsea are going to start making shoes? Is that the takeaway?
Well, that's the next pivot after that.
Gotcha.
Then, yeah, or you just don't have any players at all. You just become AI. Like Homer Simpson's internet company in The Simpsons, where Hypercompu Global Meganet, I believe it was called, and they really rock the industry. I think Chelsea could do the same thing.
Ryan, I think you've maybe been to too many VC conferences. See the next one that comes up. Don't go. That was a lot of buzzwords that I didn't love. Yeah.
I think you need some more blue sky thinking, Graham.
I think I need some shoes is what I need. Like, that is a business.
I don't know where to get them anymore. They don't make them anymore.
That is a business. Like, has any other successful shoe company ever thought we need to get out of the shoe business? Like, humans have evolved beyond the need for shoes. We need to go into the whatever the AI business is.
An obvious bubble of an industry.
Yeah. I'm sold.
Yeah. There you go. So let's all agree Chelsea should just become a trading platform and leave the Premier League. It's got to be expensive to play in the Premier League. You've got to fly and drive players all around the country. Too expensive.
Good point.
Streamline.
Yeah, I'm sold. No.
Good, thank you.
Our work here is done.
Donny Draws a lot. Thank you very much for your question. We take a quick break. When we come back, we've got some more squad and roster construction and lots of other things. Join us then. Total Soccer Show, welcome back to Listen to Questions. Richard Rolson has been in touch with this one. One of the Spurs issues that I've heard pundits talk about is that the team's roster hasn't been well built. If you were to put together a team, what would a well-constructed roster look like? You don't have to use real players. What I'm interested in is positions, skill sets, age, and experience levels you'd want for your team. So, Graham, this is less the Chelsea approach here, more the back to basics. How would you blueprint a team out if you were sort of building it? So the traditional way of looking at it, I suppose, is you build the spine out first and you sort of go from there. If you pep, it's like you focus on your fullbacks and your defensive midfield as the anchors and go from there.
You buy 3 goalkeepers, you just rifle through them season after season and settle on the one that works.
That's it. It's all part of the master plan. And what's the Graham Ruthven master plan?
Yeah, so I find this difficult to answer just because I think different clubs will have different approaches and it's not really a paint-by-numbers thing. And we were talking before we started recording and I think, Ryan, you might have given me the scenario of an expansion team in MLS. If you were starting from scratch, what would you build? And I think we've seen in reality, in practice, different clubs take different approaches and it kind of is linked to your ethos as a club, whether you're going to be developer of talent, like kind of what San Diego have done with the Right to Dream Academy link up, or whether you want to be a win now franchise in the way that maybe Inter Miami have been over the last few years. So kind of difficult to give a catch-all answer, but I'll give it my best shot. And I look at a club like Brighton, who I think are widely considered one of the best run clubs in the world. One of the most impressive things about them is how they buy replacements before they even need a replacement. So it always feels like there's another one coming along the line. And maybe the best example of this was when Moises Caicedo was sold to Chelsea for a close to a Premier League record fee. And Carlos Baliba was just there, ready to step in. They never sign players from a position of desperation. They never wait until they sell a player before signing the replacement. So I use that word hierarchy when talking about Chelsea squad. I think that's something that I would want to establish, where you have your pillar players, you then have developmental players who are maybe ready to make that next step up, and then you have players below that who are like prospects, who once the developmental players move on, then they're able to step in, and that's kind of how I would broadly construct my squad. I also think you want a good degree of adaptability across positions. I think Manchester City are really good at this, so they will have someone like Omar Marmoush, who can play a whole bunch of positions. He is never really just a straight deputy for Haaland. That he also plays as like a wide position, as a second forward. So, they've got fullbacks who can play in central midfield or higher up. Nico Riley plays in central midfield, left back, and attacking left wing. And so even if he is like out of the team, it feels like there's still ways for him to get game time. You keep everyone happy, and I think it's a really efficient way of spreading that. And then finally, in terms of age profile, you want players who are ready to step in. As I say, I'm kind of repeating myself here, but you want those players who are ready to take the next step. Some players who can develop around that in a healthy environment as well. So I think there's a number of ways you can take that, but that's kind of broadly the way I'd look to do it.
Yeah, I echo a lot of the principles that Graham shared there, and also the caveat at the beginning. The answer to this question very much depends on the league and your budget and what your owner's ambitions are and what the roster building rules are that you have to deal with, right? So I think you'll have a lot of different answers depending on the context. Like in MLS, the challenge is very different to the Premier League in so many ways. As a general principle, I think soccer is more physical now than it's ever been at the top levels, at least in terms of the actual athletes playing the game, right? I mean, maybe the sport was more physical back in the 90s and Ryan's heyday, but I really do think that the actual players themselves are more physically capable now than ever before. So if I was building a team trying to win everything in the Premier League with a huge budget, I would prioritize strong physical players who can cover a lot of ground and who have obvious technical ability as well. I'd imagine that's about what everybody's trying to do at the end of the day, because those are the best players, and it's really hard to do it well. But that's where some of the principles that Graham brought into play, I think, really do make sense. I love what you said, Graham, about not recruiting from desperation. Like there should be planning here that you identify what players maybe are going to be phased out, and City's version of phasing players out is different than Brighton's, right? Brighton's is City calling. City is players aging out or they're not good enough, right? So identify whatever that looks like for your club. If you're a league club, which is sort of how I'm thinking about this, then you need to have some of these succession plans in place, but succession planning for that club looks a bit different in the grand scheme of things. In terms of positional profiles and things that I prioritize, if I was building a team trying to win the Premier League, I think at center back, you need incredibly athletic players who can play the high line and who can be very good defending without a lot of cover around them. Although I think there's a bit more cover for some of those players now as rest defense principles have become more emphasized. But I want those kinds of players who are effective defensively, good in the air, and can play with the ball a little bit as well. I think you see that model at Arsenal really well. In terms of the central midfielders, I want guys that can cover a lot of ground and or have excellent defensive timing. Like Rodri does cover a lot of ground. He's not a Tyler Adams ball winner in midfield, but what Rodri makes up for it with is the system, number one, helps him, but also he's elite at reading the game and understanding where to position himself. That's part of how Busquets got away with being a lanky, kind of slow guy, at least in short bursts for so long, is that his vision before the play happened was almost always right. And then you need really good ball progression from that area of the field as well. In the half spaces, this is sort of what you were talking about, Graham, with wanting versatile players. But I want, in those positions, I want varied playmakers, like guys who can do a lot of different things. You know, Bernardo Silva can do a lot of different things and often ends up in the half spaces. De Bruyne can do a lot of different things and often ends up in the half spaces for City. They can drop deeper, they can move wider, they can serve in all sorts of different balls. I think that's where a lot of the chance creation is going to come from. And then the wide attackers, elite 1v1 players who can press. Striker, I want someone who presses well and can create their own shot. Like I think that's what differentiates the elite strikers from the non-elite strikers. The thing is, again, those profiles aren't all that difficult to find. They're just absurdly expensive. And doing it in a way that allows you to comply with financial rules is difficult. And so you need to not miss on a whole mess of these players. I think the challenges, frankly, in MLS and roster building in MLS are much more interesting than building an elite roster in the Premier League. And so what I would do in MLS would be quite different. I guess I'll run through that very briefly. In general, I think if I was building an MLS team, I would try to run a 3-4-3. I'd have, because you got to really dig into the budgetary stuff in this situation. I think I would have fullbacks converted to play as my outside center backs because fullbacks don't cost a lot of money. I would have wingbacks because wingbacks cost less than wingers. I would have attacking midfielders in the half spaces, and that's where I'd spend a lot of money is on DP attacking midfielders. And I would also spend money on my central midfielders. That feels like what the Whitecaps have done, and it's working very well for them. And my central center back, who is like going to be a legit center back who needs to be really good, because maybe my outside center backs aren't going to be truly elite. Maybe they will be, but I'm not going to spend on them being truly elite. And then my striker is going to be some rando Sergi Solans. Like that's how I'm going to play this. I'm not going to go spend Emmanuel Latte-Lot money on a striker unless it's Cucho Hernandez, who has that kind of profile and a varied skill set. I'm not spending crazy on my 9 because I really don't think you have to. I think that's how I'd build it in MLS. But I've also thought a lot more about that than I've thought about the Premier League side. So I reserve a right to change my opinion on winning the Champions League and how to do it later on.
Very good. All right, Richard Rolston, hope that answered your question. Let's go to A Work of Bart and their question. Imagine you have a friend who's going to be closely watching soccer for the first time this summer at the World Cup. Which players and teams are you pitching to them so as to kickstart their fandom into the beautiful game? Joe, is it as easy as just to say, like, go watch all the Spain and France games and be done with it? Or is there
pretty much. That's kind of my answer.
So I wanted to ask you guys about Spain. Would you recommend Spain? Like,
yes.
Let's assume Lamine Yamal is playing. And I think Spain might just win this whole thing, right? That's a cold take. Mm-hmm. But I like watching Spain. If someone is new to watching soccer, are you not going to have to deal with a lot of, they're passing the ball backwards for the 100th time? Like, that's going to happen if I'm showing my American pal a Spain game. I just know it.
Yeah, but Joe, cast your mind back to Euro 2024, and Spain did do a bit of that, but they were also like lightning quick and really incisive in the final third. They definitely moved on from that kind of Lucho, tedious era, and they had Lamine Yamal on one side, and they had Nico Williams, who has had a bad season. Let's hope he can be good for the World Cup. But when he's good, he's also fun. So my player answer, assuming he's going to be fit, was Lamine Yamal.
For sure.
And my team answer was Spain, with an honorary mention for France, as long as Didier Deschamps can get out of the way. I think that's it.
I mean, I love that. And you've completely sold me on Spain. That's just the hesitancy that I had heading into it, but I appreciate the perspective. France was another one that did end up on my list. I have down in my notes, France might be less stodgy this time around. Still worried. I mean, the French elite attackers who are fun are dropping like flies. No Hugo Ekitike. I wonder who's going to be next. Like, every one of those guys that is absent means that Deschamps' boring meter is going to skyrocket once again. It's just hard to be boring when you have Ryan Cherki and Mbappe and Ousmane Dembele and some of these other pieces like
Barcola and Doué and Michael Olise.
It's ridiculous. I just can't believe that France won't have some juice in this tournament. They'll play against the ball probably more than I would prefer, but France are absolutely in that bunch. Can I toss in another team? Mm-hmm. This is not an under the radar one. Are Argentina not the perfect blend of skill and chaos? Like at their core, you know? Messi is still on my list of players that are must watch. Like, Messi does ridiculous things on the ball, maybe not quite as often as he used to, but he is still a truly elite player that is electric to watch in a way that just a lot of individual soccer players are not. He does things that nobody else does, and so he's still on my list. And Argentina, with Messi in it, with some of the, I feel like there's just that South American chaos streak that is like part of the culture. And it makes these games fun and crazy to watch, and Argentina's on my list. I've got to show somebody an Argentina game.
I think that was exactly what I was going to suggest, because I think as a new fan, Joe, you do want chaos, right? You want to be engaged with the game with sort of a bit of volatility, a bit of dynamism in the game, rather than just this is sleek and beautiful. I'm also interested if there's an underdog or a dark horse that might be worth tracking as well. Go on, Graham.
Japan, I'm always impressed with Japan whenever I see them, and they really they want to make a deep run in a way that they feel it's realistic, is what I mean by that. Like, they believe that it's on the cards this World Cup that they could do like what Morocco did at the last World Cup and be much more entertaining and dynamic and play on the front foot more than Morocco did. So I think Japan would be the dark horse that I would highlight as a team that not only could they do something, but could be quite entertaining while doing it.
We discussed previously on the feed, Graham, about Erling Haaland being a big attraction for the kids as well. How about Norway as an underdog dark horse to track?
Yes. The only thing that's holding me back from Norway is it feels like their other elite level player, who is Martin Odegaard, has kind of taken a bit of a step backwards in the last 6 months or so and has had injuries. That's obviously been a factor. But even now that he's playing for Arsenal, maybe I don't know what it is with Odegaard. Just seems to have lost a little bit of the nimbleness in possession, maybe having missed so much soccer over the last year or so. So that's the only thing that's holding me back from Norway. But yes, Norway as a dark horse could be quite entertaining to track. They're in the toughest group as well. So in the group stage, that's kind of where I'm looking for that group with France and Senegal is like the only group where you're getting genuine sort of heavyweight clashes. I think France-Norway might be the most attractive game of the entire World Cup group stage. So yeah, good shout.
Very good. I think also you have to get used to, as a soccer fan, the fact that most fans don't win, most teams don't win. So I would also put England forward as a glorious failure candidate. Can play some pretty good soccer, but will ultimately break your heart. That's kind of what soccer's about, isn't it, Joe?
I think so. I think my heart's been broken more than not. So that tracks on the soccer side. England also should be a decent watch, right? I mean, I think this summer they have fun players. Kane is in my list of players.
Depends how early they go out, is my answer.
Good point, Graham. Good point. I think Kane is on my list of kind of must-watch players because of how he plays the number 9 spot. He makes this team fun. He was trying to make the Southgate team watchable, and that just never quite happened. But there's a lot of fun, interesting profiles in that England team that I think really could mesh together well.
Yeah, I think like 6 months ago I might have rung off a whole list of English names like Palmer and Bellingham and Saka. It just feels like a lot of them are out of form at the moment. I don't know what kind of versions of those players are going to turn up to the World Cup, so that's a question mark. I've got a few more players that, I mean, this is me just listing the best players in the world, but I've tried to keep it to like fun players who neutrals might appreciate. Julian Alvarez, I think people still sleep on him as one of the best players in the world and is capable of a moment of magic, so that's maybe another thing that leads into Argentina being a must-watch team. Antoine Griezmann, another French player. I just love watching Griezmann play. He seems to get better in the big games as well. Like that seems to be when he produces his best soccer, which is what a quality to have that is. Vinicius Jr., Rafinha, and then finally, and obviously I'm slightly biased here, I'm going to propose a cult hero who might be quite entertaining to watch. Super John McGinn. I feel like neutrals could get on board with Meatball, as his nickname is at Aston Villa. So let's put him forward.
Wait, how did I not know that? His nickname is Meatball?
Yeah. I don't think there's anything more to it than he just kind of looks a bit like a meatball.
Oh, for sure. No, I understood it immediately. I just hadn't heard it before.
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it? Meatball.
Wow.
Yeah, that new fan will hate to watch him leave, but love to see him go. No, other way around. I've mixed that one up. He's got a nice bum.
He does.
That
is a reason to
That's
watch
what
him.
you were saying. I didn't understand.
I know words. A work of art. Thank you very much indeed for your question. We're going to take one more quick break. When we're back, we're putting a Premier League team in Major League Soccer. We're talking about Pro-rel. Join us then. Total Soccer Show, welcome back to our listener questions. Couple more for you, including this one from Justin Haggerty. Who do you think is the best team in the Premier League who wouldn't win MLS Cup in their first attempt? Joe, is it Wolves?
No, I don't think it is. But anyway, sorry.
Graham.
Go on, Joe.
Graham thinks there's one that wouldn't win it. Oh, that's interesting.
They all win
It's the one just above Wolves. Wolves are a funny team.
Wow.
Like not to skip ahead, but Wolves. I don't think they're worse than Burnley. I know the table doesn't lie in all that, and they're literally below Burnley. But I think they've got some really good players. Atletico Madrid apparently want to sign. The Athletic was reporting this week. João Gomez. They want to sign him. Matheus Mane is good fun. Andre's another good set player in central midfield. And they've taken points off Arsenal and Liverpool this season. I think Wolves do win MLS Cup. I look at Burnley and I kind of struggle to pick out their redeeming qualities as a team. I don't think they control matches with the ball. Their defensive record got them to the Premier League. I don't think they've got a lot of attacking quality. So Burnley, sorry, I know I've just totally jumped in on Joe here, but
no, it's good.
Burnley were my only answer. I don't feel great about tipping them to win MLS Cup at the first goal.
And so this lines up with Opta's club power rankings, which grain of salt, obviously, because it's difficult to compare teams from different leagues across the world. But Opta has Wolves and the other 18 Premier League teams above every team in MLS in terms of their ratings. Burnley is the only one that is below a couple of MLS teams. So maybe your instincts are good there. The Wolves is one I was thinking about because they're bottom of the league. And I think about someone like Yerson Mosquera, who was an elite MLS center back with FC Cincinnati. Like, he was very, very good. Young, still very young at that time, but he was awesome. He started 20 games for Wolves in the Premier League this year. Hasn't been in every game sort of starter, and is not necessarily a key piece of their puzzle. There are levels to this. Like, that's my way of saying there are levels to this. If you plug Mosquera into Cincinnati now, he's their best center back, and I don't think it's especially close. it's just a completely different ballgame. So Burnley, I could see Burnley. I'll be man enough to say it. I haven't watched a lot of Burnley this year, so I don't really have a great sense of how they would fare in MLS. The general principle is basically every team in the Premier League would have a very good chance to win. Now, MLS Cup provides some wrinkles here because it's a bit random at the end of the day. That's how knockout tournaments work, even with best of 3 series in the first round that should adjust to favor the better team a little bit. Even so, knockout competitions are a bit random. If you make this the Shield, I still think the answer is all, or if not all, 19 or 18 out of 20 win the league. You got to be a bad relegation-bound Premier League team for me not to feel like you're headed towards a trophy in MLS.
All right, let me extend it out. How many Champo teams would win the MLS Cup?
I don't watch enough Championship football, but I'm going to have a look.
Okay, so let's look at the top teams. Coventry, Ipswich, Millwall, Borough, Southampton, and Wrexham. That's the top 6. Could Wrexham win in their first year?
I don't care for that sentence. I really don't. I mean, I will echo Graham. Like, I don't know enough about those top teams. What I do know is it seems like there's this thing that happens where the bad teams in the Premier League, like the truly awful bottom of the league relegation bound team, oftentimes that team will not go right back up, right? Like there'll be a delay. And at times, the top teams in the championship, I genuinely think if it was a Bundesliga style, maybe we'll talk about this later. There's a Bundesliga style relegation playoff between that, like the third championship team and the third best Premier League team. I think you could see some versions where the Champo team ends up winning it. So I do think there's some fudging that we can do around the edges here of like the best championship teams I think would do really well in MLS. Probably as good as some of the worst Premier League teams and maybe vice versa.
Love to see Millwall in MLS, wouldn't you,
Oh,
That would be a culture shock and a half.
Yeah.
The Seattle Sounders guy going, fight and win. Millwall fans going, okay.
Yeah, we'll do the first bit.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, Justin Haggerty, we like your question. Thank you very much indeed for it. One more for this episode. Jonathan Hugel says, if Major League Soccer instituted promotion and relegation, which system, Premier League, Scottish Premiership, Argentinian League, etc. and so on, would be the easiest to pitch to the owners? Better yet, which would be the most entertaining? Does anyone want to lay out the differences between these sort of pro-rel systems before we get in?
Graham does.
I didn't look at the Argentinian league. I kind of
Okay,
overlooked
I've
that
got
in the
something.
question. Joe, you got it?
Yeah, so I believe, first of all, nothing from the Argentinian league should be copied, except MLS has already copied the number of teams that are in the top flight, because there's 30 teams, which is still a bit wild as a league. There's an insane league schedule that happens in Argentina, where there's a Zone A and a Zone B, and so there's 15 teams in each sort of side of the league, which again feels a lot like conferences. They basically only play within themselves, except for a couple of games that cross over. And as I understand it, this is as of 2025, they relegate the team that finished at the bottom in 2025. They did this, and then the team that finished with the lowest points per game over the previous 3 years. So they had 2 different styles of relegation that season. I believe that now the system is they relegate the 2 teams with the worst points per game over the last 3 years, and that's the repeating cycle. But it is difficult to figure out exactly what is going on in Argentina, which no way MLS should copy this. So can you imagine if MLS started doing a system that actually set up like to relegate a team on points per game every 3 years? They would get canned everywhere for that. Like if they actually adopted this system. So I would not say that is the one to mirror here.
Yeah, and also just very hard to follow that, isn't it? As a fan and watching
is.
a league table and knowing that it doesn't actually belie who's actually going down. That just seems odd to me.
It surely means as well, if you have an absolute stinker of a season in the 3-year window, you're then like starting, and you're still a bad team, you haven't like brought in star players. You're then starting like the 3rd season in that window, and there must be teams that are just absolutely doomed. It's like to offset how badly you've done in one of the previous seasons, you would need to like finish high up the table, and that's just not realistic. So, yeah, let's not do that. The Premier League relegation system is very, very easy. Three down, 3 up. Obviously, from the Championship, you've got the playoffs, 2 automatic, and then a playoff team. And then Scottish Premiership is 1 down automatically. And then I'll try and keep this concise. The team that finishes second bottom of the Scottish Premiership goes into a relegation system against teams from the lower division, the Scottish Championship. This is where it gets a little bit more confusing. Basically, 3rd v 4th play each other in a playoff series. The winner of that then plays 1st versus 2nd from the Championship. The winner of that then plays the team that finished second bottom of the Scottish Premiership. So the odds are very much There's only like I think 2 teams ever that have come up from the championship in that way, because the odds are just always stacked in favour, and the games are played like 4 days apart, so the Premiership team is just always fresher, and I don't love that system either.
Graham, sorry, I'm not totally sure I understand. So the top team from the championship gets promoted automatically, right?
Yes.
And the bottom team from the Premiership gets demoted, relegated. That's the one, automatically. So then which teams from the championship are in the playoff? Is that 2, 3, 4, and 5? It would be, right?
I think I misspoke. I meant 4 plays 5. Winner of that plays 2. Plays 2v3. Yeah, that's correct. And then the winner of that plays the. So there's like three rounds.
You're just really going to drill into this? Wait, so what is the point of being? If you're the second team in the championship, you have to play the 3rd seed? That doesn't feel fair. The 4th team gets to play the 15. Is it 4v5 and the winner of that plays 3? And then the winner of that game plays 2, and then the winner of that game plays the second bottom team in the Premiership.
This is what I get for not actually doing my notes on this part and just winging it on what the system. What you said, Joe, is what it is.
Got it. All right.
So it's basically like if you can essentially, if you finished 5th, you can beat the team that finished 4th in the table. Then you move through and you can beat the team that finished 3rd. Then you can move through and beat the team that finished 2nd, and then beat the team that finished second bottom of the Premiership and get promoted. That's never happened before, though.
If you like the concept of a relegation playoff, which I think I do for Major League Soccer, because Major League Soccer likes playoffs, it's a bit more drama at the end of the season. Why not just emulate the German system, which is a bit more simple than that, isn't it? It's where 2 go down, and then the 3rd team goes into a playoff a 2-legged playoff against the 3rd team in the Zweite Bundesliga, right? It's a bit more of a simplified version of that. So for me, that would be the most appealing way of doing it.
Yeah, I do like that way. For me, it's torn. First of all, to answer the question, none of these are easy to pitch to the MLS owners. I think they probably know how these work and have zero appetite for them, at least at this current moment. So I think you could pitch them Argentina, Scotland, England, Germany, any relegation system you find, and they're not going to bite on it at the moment. As far as which would be the most entertaining, I do like some of the bit of the gauntlet that happens there in Scotland, but I think either the Premier League system or the Bundesliga system works quite well, where they're simple enough so that you don't need to do what we just did with Scotland, but there's also some playoff action. And I think that's quite fun. And I think if we ever did see Pro-rel in America, there would be playoffs involved. Like USL even, which I know is a totally different kettle of fish than MLS, but they've come out and said publicly that there'd be some form of playoff involved if they ever get their Pro-rel system off the ground. So I think we can probably translate Americans love playoffs. Let's give them something more that's playoff-y, even as they attach it to this foreign construct. I like the idea of having the playoffs in the championship like England does it. I also like the idea of the direct competition between teams in the Bundesliga. The thing that I don't love maybe about the Bundesliga playoff is it feels like it is quite tilted in favor of the team that was already above. Like you're only the 3rd worst team in the top flight, and you have to play only the 3rd best team, and you get a home game. Like it seems like it is a recipe that tilts a little bit too far towards we're going to have less relegation rather than more of it, and more of it's more fun. So I think overall I would opt for the Premier League setup, which is probably the most popular anyway, because it's the league that people know best, and it's like actually good, where there's 3 automatic relegations, 3 automatic promotions, even though that 3rd one you don't know who it's going to be. Like there are going to be 3 up and 3 down in one form or another.
The championship promotion playoff format, I think, is like the cleanest, purest form of playoffs, where it's just 4 teams, 2 semi-finals, 1 final at Wembley. I love that. I love how simplistic it is. I think you often will get the playoff final is often an anomaly where they're usually great games. Like normally finals have a reputation for being a little bit stodgy. I don't know what it is, but the playoff final doesn't really have that reputation. The semi-finals are great as well. So I think it's one of the things I don't love about the Scottish playoffs is, as has just been proven by the fact I did not explain it very well to Joe, it's just very convoluted, whereas like the cleanliness of the championship ones appeal.
Can I suggest something completely radical that I think actually makes sense if you look at it from the owner's perspective? So the reason why I don't think like a 3-team down system would work in MLS is because of the owners saying, wait, I paid $500 million for my team, and now you're telling me it's going to go down a division, it's going to play much smaller teams and have much smaller revenue opportunities? Right. Nah, not going to do it. What if the entire bottom half of MLS
became a shoe company?
And they transitioned to become a new Allbirds. No, the whole bottom half the teams go down and half go up. That way, the drop isn't as drastic because you've still got 10 teams who are at your level who are going down with you. So the revenue drop isn't quite as high a spike if you go down. The consequence of going down isn't as heavy. I feel like the owners would go for that more. Super amount of drama if half the league goes down, then a crazy amount of drama from the league below if half goes up as well. I think I've solved it.
I've never heard someone suggest that before. No, the hesitation you're hearing from me is like, I know it's still a bad idea. I just can't figure out how. You know,
But it's a bad idea because you mash things up so comprehensively over seasons that you're like, what's the best league? Like,
Yes.
Wow.
You could have the second tier being better than the first tier some years. It'll be wild.
It's
I'd
kind
love
of
it.
awesome, Ryan. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like it. I don't think it actually solves the problem that you said it does, but I don't know if you were fully trying to solve it or not. I still think like the stigma around relegation, which is correct, is that, well, do I want to watch teams that just got relegated to the second tier? Like the second tier is worse than the first tier. I'm just going to watch the first tier from a national viewership perspective, right? Like that's what happens with the Premier League, not just nationally,
Is
but
there
globally.
a national viewership for MLS though?
Right, but
I'd argue
that's
it's
what
quite
they need. That's what they
market-specific.
need, right? Like that's what they need to happen. MLS cannot be what it aspires to be without that. Like that's what the TV deal is about. That is what all the changes that they're talking about to the roster rules are about. If they're just going to play in their local sandboxes, sure, go for it, I guess. But that's still not what MLS wants to be in. So if they're going to have the league hit the heights that they think it can, and if Pro-rel is going to be a part of that, then they need to figure out a way to drive an insane amount of attention to the top division such that trickles down beneath to make it worth it for the owners who just took a big hit on their valuation, which is just a really difficult thing to solve for.
I'm into it, frankly.
I'm into it too.
You sell it to the owners. It's not relegation. It's a scheduled transfer system that we're implementing for next season for you. It just means a whole new schedule, whole new opportunities to play in different markets for you against half the teams you were already playing last season. I'm MLS. I'm available for consultancy.
I was going to say Ryan marketing Bailey right there. That was crazy to hear you explain that in marketing.
yeah, it's a results for schedule change trade is what I would call
Right.
it. Yeah. Yep.
Well said.
There's going to be a lovely acronym for that somewhere. Yeah, let's do it. All right. I think I've solved soccer twice in this episode.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm great.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, thank you. Jonathan Dougal, thank you very much for that question. Thank you to everybody who submitted one. If you'd like to do so, totalsoccershow.com/questions, or our preferred method is that you join our Discord and join in the fun and games there. We've got a listener questions channel. You can drop them in there, and you can join at patreon.com/totalsoccershow. There we go. Another week done, Graham. How you feeling? Feeling energized and ready to watch 16 games simultaneously later today?
So today is Stirling Albion's final game of the season, so I'm very energised that this dreadful campaign is coming to an end, and at least for a few weeks I'll have some hope until next season starts, and we'll repeat the cycle all over again.
Is it high stakes today?
No, we are mathematically safe only because the two teams below us have had points deductions.
Hooray!
Thanks, bureaucracy.
Wow. Yeah. Scottish FA doing you a solid.
Yeah,
there you go.
that's right.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Graham Ruffin. Thank you very much, Joe Lowry, for your contributions here. How's your Saturday shaping up?
It's going to be great, man. It's going to be great. I'm somehow in South Dakota right now, even though I'm at home. Magic.
Wow. You've done the temporal pincer movement.
Yeah,
Christopher
it's
Nolan
hard.
taught us about.
It's hard to do, but a little bit of practice, I think anybody could pull it off, really.
There you go. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done to you.
Thanks, man.
Listener, thank you very much for joining us on this episode. We'll be back on the feed with our weekend review bright and early on Monday. Not bright and early, but it'll be on Monday. But for now, for this one, bye.